When it comes to our national security, there's no question that the Chinese Communist Party is at the top of our adversaries list. They're working to become a global superpower. According to the FBI, China has tried to influence our lawmakers and also public opinion. They've also been accused of stealing intellectual property and committing cyber attacks. It appears the CCP employees, or the CCP rather, is still employing these kinds of tactics. The Daily Caller News Foundation's Phil Lenczycki is out with a new story titled, quote, "A defense contractor that supplies parts for American military aircraft and advises the U.S. government on supply chain security is owned by an immigrant with extensive ties to the Chinese Communist Party, intelligence, and influence agencies," according to a Daily Caller News Foundation investigation. The name of the person in question is Jerry Wang, the CEO of S&L Aerospace Metals. S&L specializes in making things like landing gears and hydraulics. They serve clients like Boeing, Lockheed, and Raytheon. They work on both commercial and military aircrafts. Joining us now to discuss is Phil Lenczycki, who writes the Department of Defense has awarded tens of millions of dollars in defense contracts for fighter jet attacks, helicopters, and guided missile launcher parts to S&L Aerospace Metals, a New York-based company that serves on the Department of Homeland Security on critical manufacturing. Phil is here with us, as I just said. Thank you for coming on Rising.
Thanks for having me so much. Yep.
So how does a person like this with ties to our adversaries end up working so close with important military private companies that provide military contracts for military equipment? That seems like a major red flag.
That's really the million-dollar question: is how could this have happened? The individuals with whom we spoke told us that essentially the Department of Defense, the vetting process for defense contractors boils down to little more than the honor system. It's a self-disclosure system in which these defense contractors will, identify their own potential vulnerabilities. And after that, there's maybe just a perfunctory, cursory review of those disclosures, and then they are let into the system.
You know, my head pretty much exploded just now when you said that the vetting process amounts to little more than the honor system. This is not a red flag. This is like 5 to 10 red flags. The fact that people who have to do with manufacturing parts, that our military, our young men and women are going to be flying these planes. And the fact that they could be sabotaged so easily, this is absolutely horrific. And the fact that it took the Daily Caller to find it out also says a lot. So thank you for exposing such profound malfunction and danger within an institution, which, as we've talked about, there's a lot of diminished respect for anyway.
A lot of diminished respect for Boeing right now. Can you talk about that specific connection?
Yes, exactly. And so this company, S&L Aerospace, produces for Boeing, both for its military aircraft as well as for, the 747. And so this is certainly a concern, as we've seen Boeing struggle recently and mishaps. So there's no evidence that would suggest that S&L, any of its parts, were connected to any of these mishaps, but the concern certainly is there given what we've seen.
And we know also that the Chinese Communist Party causes basically self-censorship among American companies or American professional athletes that want to play in Chinese markets. They know not to speak up or talk back to Chinese authorities. Isn't that a danger here as well, that someone involved in such an important level with American business interests and things for the military is compromised in that way?
Well, certainly, were it to come to that this individual was required to give input, then that would be an issue. And given that his company is on the Department of Homeland Security's Critical Manufacturing Sector Coordinating Council, they are certainly privy to privileged information, according to the intelligence analysts with whom we spoke, and would be called upon at times to cooperate with the government and help advise them about how to protect U.S. critical manufacturing. So in that regard, to your point, I suppose they could hypothetically be guided by directives or the agenda from Beijing.
For something that is absolutely as essential as this is to American national security, it's shocking to me to hear all the just trust given to these guys. There's a great naivete, it seems to me, on the part of our defense establishment, like you said, making it just the honor system. You say what part of things he's involved in. The point is, if his foot is in the door. The point is, and I'm not saying the United States doesn't do its own shenanigans and its own spying other places, because we know that we do. But I assume those other countries are a little more careful about us. We should be as careful about them as they are certainly careful about us. So once again, thank you for exposing this. I find this just outrageous.
And we should note that through an attorney, he denied to you that he does have ties to foreign political entities. What is your basis for determining that this individual is indeed potentially compromised, or at least does have associations with our Chinese adversaries?
Correct. The attorney in SNL denied that he had ties to any political entities of a foreign power. However, when presented with approximately 13 photos showing Mr. Wang at a series of events, both in the United States and in China, meeting with Chinese Communist Party officials, including Xi Jinping, as well as Chinese intelligence officials, the SNL and the attorney did not deny that Mr. Wang was pictured in those photos. And so not only do we have evidence from these photos, but we also have Chinese government and Chinese state media reports that list Mr. Wang as being an official within a number of Chinese intelligence agencies, and as well a Chinese government organization known for influence.
That seems pretty
definitive. In order here, guys.
Is Congress at all interested in looking at how these contracts are made to someone like this?
Well, I'm happy to say that the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, they commented, Representative John Molinar, the chairman, he expressed concern about this topic. And we're waiting and hoping that other members will look into this. And we're waiting to hear if any of the affected agencies wish to, investigate the matter. And we've reached out to, for instance, Lockheed Martin to ask if they would be looking into this.
Phil, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up on Rising, the notorious Jeffrey Toobin has made a new career move. We'll discuss.